Shire with the CRA. I'm the division manager. I want to thank you guys for all coming out today. I know it's cold out there, so thank you for braving the storm. We don't get snow. I wish we did. We don't get snow, so sorry. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm born and raised in Florida, so when it gets cold, I get excited. That's my scarf and jacket over there. And it gets from my boots. All right. So that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Annabella real quick. She's going to give some information and introduce our presenter today. So Annabella from Public Works, you're all yours.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anna Holland. I'm the Transportation Division Manager for Public Works. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you to the team from the Defensia Group who is doing the development right across from the library here. I have Gretchen, and Gretchen, if you could please introduce your team.
I'll just stand here. Gretchen Dominguez, Project Manager with the Defensia Group. So if you have complaints or questions, I'm your girl. Starting the presentation today is going to be my design team with our architect. They have Eric and then closing us out for construction updates will be Cast Construction and your Farias. I'm going to feel the complaints. That's my application.
Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A quick presentation, but it's been a pleasure, and it's been a long 5 years plus working on this project. It's not just, I started 5 years ago when there was a competition was announced, and we had the pleasure to compete against 4 other really major players in the area.
Thank you.
There we go. There we go. Takes all this effort to turn a speaker on, and we got this project going. It's great. Anyway, no, again, thank you so much for this opportunity. You know, 5 years plus that we started this competition, and the goal of the competition was really to create a set of buildings and a development downtown that would allow a nice edge and an urban edge to Clearwater. There we go. Thank you. While maintaining the porosity, or basically the views from the city into the park, and to connect the two. So we, you know, it's often like even on the beach, you know, you create a wall between the people and the view, and that's what we tried not to do. And I think it's come out pretty well. Again, it's a hotel, commercial. You'll see the next month, I think we're going to talk about the residential aspect. But the way, real quickly, what we did, we took advantage of several things. Among them, the width of the site, so we could turn our building sideways, and you could see through. That there's pedestrian plazas from Osceola to the park, views through that, and because we're on the bluffs, that we have 20, 30 feet that we could go down and create something that's unusual in Florida, which is a basement near the water. So anyway, it was a long project. There was a lot of work involved. Sarah Jane was our project manager, so while I got to make the pretty pictures and do the sales, she did a fantastic job of really bringing it to fruition. All the engineering, all the client, all the contracts, all the headaches back and forth, modifications with the client and the city and the negotiations thereof. So she's the hero, really. So I'll let her talk.
Thank you for that introduction. It really was a pleasure to bring this project to fruition, and we're really looking forward to see it go up. Right now we're going down into the basement. A little bit of background on the program that we designed to be on the edge of the park to activate the park edge. We have a 158 key hotel with 20,000 square feet of retail on the ground level, and on the second level of the small retail building. We anticipate that those spaces will be occupied primarily by food and beverage and some retail aspects. So it'll really kind of activate the Osceola pedestrian front, as well as provide a nice retail edge for repose and refreshment by the park. What was interesting about this project is that there was no back alley and no back door. Every single edge of the property is special, right? The north edge is the library, then the east edge is Osceola, so we're tapping into that downtown core and trying to create that pedestrian vitality. Then on the south edge, we have the entry plaza to the Imagine Park. Then on the west, we have the park. So it really was a challenge to put everything in this building that needed to happen in order for the building to function, all the pretty things and not so pretty things, but I think we did that pretty artfully. So otherwise, we have other features on the site. There is a rooftop bar and restaurant with some meeting space on the roof, which will really maximize the views onto the intercoastal. The second level of the small retail building, so here you see the plaza going in between the two buildings. So we've got that 10-story hotel building, and then on the other side of it, we've got the 2-story retail. So we really invite pedestrians into that plaza with a vista towards the park. And then the second level of the retail has kind of a grass slope that brings the park, the topography of the park onto the building and onto the site. So the city challenged us to kind of blur the lines between the property, the city's property, which was the park, and our private development, and really create an invitation to participate in the activation of the edge of Osceola. So, otherwise, we're also a LEED Silver building, which means that we selected systems, materials that were energy efficient and meet the goals of LEED. We've provided electric vehicle parking in the subgrade parking and some bike spaces to promote other forms of transit as well and walkability. So we're very proud of this project, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
You make a 3D model of it?
We did, yes.
You did?
Sorry.
Where is that?
I did not bring it with me. We have a couple over in the cast office right now. What I could actually do, I think we left one with the city. Did we leave it last week? No, we wish we had it with us. We can make sure that we have a couple, Anna, in your office, just so that they're available if somebody would like to take a look at them.
Drop us on all 19?
No, no. We office out of St. Petersburg, and then I office oftentimes at the cast office. But I could also, if you want one delivered here to the library, if somebody, the neighbors want to take a look at it, I can drop one off here. I'll have it here by Friday. I'll communicate with Joelle, and I'll make sure the city knows that it's here. So if you guys want to come by and take a look at it, yeah, be happy to have it.
Are you, it's hard to hear, a model of, is that what you're referring
Yeah,
to?
we have a 3D model. I mean, it's, you know,
Yeah, perfect.
but it definitely gives you an idea of some scale with the project and kind of helps you understand the paths. Certainly, be happy to do that.
You know, and you're gonna house that where, in the library someplace?
Well, I can put
or-
one here at the library that can just remain
Yeah, the
here.
library would be perfect,
Yeah,
since it's
I mean,
right
I think
next
just,
door.
Ann Lopez, CRA Assistant Director, will work with them and Annabella to find a nice place here within the library that's a good fit. And
Right.
if you didn't sign up and put your email address on the sign-in sheet when you came in, please do so, because that's how we'll share the information with a lot of the merchants and our stakeholders within the area of where it will be located and housed within the library.
And I'll make sure you guys have one for your office too.
Awesome, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
I'll put it on the desk.
Is there gonna be public parking and hotel parking? Okay, can you start that?
I'll let.
So the subgrade parking has 169 spaces, 50 of which have been dedicated to library patrons. Yep, so that'll be valet parking, and 50 of them will be available to the public.
Free?
Yes, that was the commitment. Yes.
Yep, so for the public parking, it's free, and then for obviously the private parking, that's a different setup
Okay.
that they have.
Hi, so what's the traffic flow gonna look like on Osceola when all's said and done? You're gonna have to obviously turn into the parking, right, for the hotel off of Osceola. There's only two skinny lanes there. How's that?
So when you turn, you're probably better at describing this. Let's see if we have a picture that kind of gets us there.
Can you use the mic?
There's no curb cuts on Osceola, any new curb cuts.
So the present entrances and exits will remain the entrances and exits, okay.
So that's the northeast corner there, where you see the porte cochere and the entrance to the hotel. That is right off of the library parking lot. So the idea is that the cars circulate into the library parking lot and pull up to the porte cochere. The porte cochere area can stack about 10 cars. And then from there, a valet who is experienced in navigating traffic skillfully, hopefully, right, takes the cars to the parking garage. Yeah. No, the library patrons have to go do the valet as well. So it's complimentary valet,
Yes.
just because it's a tight parking garage. So.
About, from a construction standpoint, you guys are, as you say, digging down to go do that. And at about when do you think you guys will reverse and start to, because that's when the major inflow of workers will be, right?
Andrew, why don't you come up here and jump in? Because the jigsaw puzzle that we're doing out there is a little complicated right now.
Sure,
I'll let him speak.
sure.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Freena, Senior Project Manager with CAS. To answer the gentleman's question in the back, once our concrete sub starts to mobilize, which will probably be towards the end of next month, the crew count will start to increase. And then once we're out of the basement and we start going vertical on the tower, there will be additional crews because we're actually going to have two separate crews working on the hotel structure and also finishing what we're calling the lid to the basement, which would be call it at grade with Osceola, that deck. We'll have a separate crew taking that all the way over to the retail and then working on the retail independently of the tower. So we'll have two crews going vertical.
So the goal, to Andrew's point with that, the goal, sorry. So the goal here is, back to the conversation, Phil, that we were having, is the lease agreements. We've got several leases out that we're getting ready to put in place. The goal is that the retail building will activate and CO at the same time the hotel does, so everything opens at the same time. And we've worked beautifully with the city on coordinating the efforts the way that we see that this is flowing the easiest and following rules. So when we say that we're opening in fall of 27, that is the entire, all of the programming at the site will open in fall of 27.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let me start off by saying this is really great. I'm really excited about this. And this is the best part of the bluff development. Not so sure about the other area. But during the construction, where will people be parking for council meetings? Will the lot across the street be available? And will there be spaces in it? Right now, there's not very many spaces there for like this meeting.
So we are working with the city to utilize some of the parking. We are paying for parking spaces. Like, we don't get free parking for any of this. We are paying for parking. We pay for the spots that are out here in front of the library for our MOT. So we will go to a couple of the parking garages. Lisa and I are working together on the best location for that. But we are also, the activation of like our guys coming in to around 6:30 in the morning, and they're gone 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. But I will tell you, as somebody who's out here almost every single day, a lot of what's happening over here, there's a ton of park activity with the duck here. I'm seeing like babies and strollers, like a lot of what we're seeing, what I'm just visually seeing is a lot of activation that's happening over here at the park. Most of our crews are parking in a couple other locations, specifically down at the site 2 blocks away.
I'm not so concerned about your staff because I figured you would have something in line. I'm talking about the staff that people here that use the library, will we have space? Will the city have some space over there that's not filled up by people from other places in town?
So our parking garages, both the MSD parking garage and the Garden Avenue garage are available parking for the council meetings. I believe those are free after, 6 p.m.
And people are comfortable walking 2 blocks at night back after the meeting?
Those are the spaces we have available. We also have on-street parking available around the park.
So is the lot that's labeled overflow really an overflow lot for the city?
As long as there's not a concert. If there's a concert, then they charge for concert parking. We don't own that lot, we're graciously being allowed to use it.
Okay, but do we have control over who else parks there so that there's space for people coming in?
That's why I mentioned the Garden Avenue garage or other spaces on the street and in the park.
Is this a category for working group?
Ish. I mean, yes, the insurance is in place, the structural integrity of the design, I mean, everything has been considered. This was no small feat, as you'd imagine. Building it on a bluff next to the water after going through 3 hurricanes last year, everything's been considered.
On the waterfront side of your development, do you have frontages below the level? No. So it's all,
We're afraid.
it's just a big hill.
Nothing will change. The sidewalk that you see that wraps around over here, like if you walk out here, none of that changes. All of that remains as is. We integrate our design to connect to Sarah Jane's point. You won't necessarily see where the city stops and our project begins, and that was by design. From the way we're stamping sidewalks to match exactly what's happening in the city, the coordination with the Osceola improvement plan, all of this has been done and put a bow on it so that everything is contiguous and the design is seamless for all intents and purposes.
Will you be taking over any of the maintenance of the park?
Any of the park, no, the Parks and Rec will take that over, but just to your point, Parks and Rec has been very involved with us, from species selection to stamping sidewalks, all of that has been worked through together so that the designs are integral with each other. You see that the palms were removed as you come into the park entrance. They were having a disease issue. Those were palms we had specified as well to match theirs. Everybody decided that was a problem. So we always specified so that we can have something that the park can easily maintain, and then we can for ours as well.
I have significant concerns with the quality and the maintenance of the park. We have down in the lower level where the lake is, there are a lot of trees that appear to be dead. They were dead in the fall, they were dead now. Maintenance of the public restrooms down there continues to be, seems like there's any ownership of maintaining the quality of them. I wouldn't think that anything in your hotel would not be quality, so.
I hope not, and you're saying this in front of the right group of people who will make sure that the Parks Department's aware of your concerns, and I think that's an important thing for us to all be aware of.
I think they're aware of it and they're not taking ownership.
Understood. Anybody else have any questions?
It's 158 rooms, is that right?
Yes.
Thanks.
Anything else?
58 or 169?
158 rooms, 169 parking spaces.
Sorry,
That's okay.
that's what you said.
It's okay.
I wrote it down.
This guy's detailed.
We rapid fire this stuff all day long, so. I'm gonna turn, oh, go ahead.
So for a convention center, what's the national?
So we don't have convention center space, we have meeting space that can hold up to, what's our maximum in there? 30. And so so in our rooftop, but it's also adjacent to our entire rooftop restaurant. So if somebody wanted to do a meeting space, we could make that flow nicely, but it's not intended to be a convention center. We would need significantly more space that would be required for a convention center than we would have on this particular parcel. Anything else? I'm gonna let Andrew speak to the construction schedule so that everybody has an idea what's going on.
All right, so just a few milestones that we're tracking for construction progress here. So as everybody knows, we've started in January. We're scheduled to top out in November of 2026. We should have the building fully dried in by March of 2027. And our substantial completion date is in October of 27. So with that being said, the Nunzio Group is planning for a soft opening in the fall of 2027 with a grand opening right around the holidays of 2027. Any questions regarding construction schedule or progress?
I'm just gonna say that awesome view of the construction out of the window of the library. It's really cool to watch it all.
Yeah. Yeah, the process right now, our deep foundations is really, it's a really cool process to watch and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. Cool.
If nobody has any other questions or comments, that wraps up our side of things. And again, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to reach out with the city. They'll put you in touch with me. We're happy to address your questions or concerns. And if there's anything that is concerned, please don't hesitate to tell us. We want to be good neighbors to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't need that microphone, you don't know I have a loud mouth. Be nice. Be nice, Dan, be nice.
I will.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Brian, from our CRA team. He's gonna introduce himself and go over some fun information that's going on in downtown. So, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Thank you, Vicki. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'll introduce myself real quick. My name is Brian Albrecht. I'm a CRA specialist. I work with the city to help revitalize downtown. I also work closely with the Downtown Development Board, which is another entity that we partner with to sponsor events, which is a good segue into some of the things that are going to be happening in the near future, especially this weekend. We have the Fresh Start Market by St. Pete College. This Friday's theme is going to be Pets Night Out, so it's a family-friendly event from 6:30 to 9:30 along the 400 and 500 block of Cleveland Street, which is just right out here. It's the main drag where all the restaurants and the Capitol Theater are, in case you don't know where it is. And like the theme is, invite the pets out, walk around, look at all the different vendors and what they're going to be selling, grab a bite to eat at one of our fine restaurants. And then that theme is going to be happening periodically throughout the coming month. And then also Saturday, we're going to be having two key events downtown. We're going to be having salsa and bachata at the district. That's going to be on the 500 block, which is the next block over from right along Osceola. And it's going to be music, dancing, and just a lot of activity along that block. But also, say you're not really into salsa or dancing, we have a Hello Cleveland Street, which is brought to you by our fine merchants downtown. It's going to be a live band, a Highway 41 band, and that's going to be along the 400 block, which is the closest street where a lot of the restaurants currently are. And then, like I said, they have a band, really good turnout. I was there last weekend. Family-friendly event and just a good time that everyone could have in downtown Clearwater. And then moving into February, We have the first Friday lunchtime market, and if you've seen the new flyer, it's me in there, and I didn't lose a bet. They just said, hey, just smile and take a picture. But this is an opportunity on the first Friday for people to come down during their lunch break, purchase all sorts of different items, or maybe just window shop, but in front of tents and everything, grab a good bite to eat. A lot of our merchants have lunch specials to encourage people to kind of enjoy their afternoon or lunch break in the downtown area on that first Friday of the month. That is February 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then also that Friday is we're going to have another St. Pete Fresh Friday Market, and it's going to be salsa themed again. In the evening, that's from 6 to 9 later that day of the Friday market. And then with the Super Bowl coming up on February 7th from 6 to 9, they're having like a pre-Super Bowl themed Friday market. This is also St. Pete College event. And then to kind of top that off, we have Tasty Tampa Bay on February 21st. That's going to be down here at Coachman from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it's brought to you by the same people who helped bring in Fall Y'all earlier this year, and then the Jingle Mingle event that was downtown, the big Christmas themed event that happened down in Coachman earlier this year. And does anyone have any questions about events, or, I kind of want to learn a little bit more about that? We have plenty of materials. We post them on our website, and then we also use our social media to also highlight these events. So follow us on Facebook, Clearwater CRA, and then of course our website as well at myclearwater.com. myclearwatercra.com. That would change. Well, are there any questions about events? Yeah.
Not a question, but just a kind of a comment.
Sure.
We're Scott Sousa with Clear Sky Restaurants. We're one of the OGs downtown for the last 10 years, and have kind of been the staple business, stable. And I was down Saturday between the duck event. I was here from 7 a.m. at the park on Saturday until the band finished up at 10 o'clock Saturday night, and it's just really cool to see stuff happening. So keep it up. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's how I felt when I was down here Saturday, walking around. With that being said, we got the DDD events that are kind of highlighting. Like I said, check out our website, follow us on Facebook, and we'll just periodically keep that updated. And we have future events, and in future meetings, we'll also highlight other events as they come up as well. But with that being said, I'm going to move into grant opportunities that the CRA provides to our merchants and downtown stakeholders. Let's talk about the Downtown Development Board grants first. We have our Special Events and High Impact Grant. So it's a bigger grant award. You come before the Downtown Development Board and kind of say, hey, I want this really big event. Usually an event coordinator will come in from out of town or within the local community and say, hey, I want to host this festival or this big day out. They'll come in here, ask the Downtown Development Board for to co-sponsor it. And that's usually when you see a bunch of flyers and stuff. So the duck would be a good example of a high impact event. And that's the special event and high impact funding that the Downtown Development Board uses. But we also have a micro pop-up event. So our downtown businesses have the opportunity to get up to $5,000, and this is just to host something quick, big, and get the downtown going. And we the Downtown Development Board staff and CRA staff encourage businesses to take advantage of this. So if they get like a good community partner to come in here and say, hey, you know, we have this great idea, can we get some funding for it? And, you know, we do our part to kind of co-sponsor that as well. And, you know, it's $5,000, and the idea is to kind of activate the downtown area, you know, with like a quick, small event. And then another program that the Downtown Development Board uses is the Outdoor Cafe Grant, which if you've been on the Cleveland Street 400, 500 block, you see that there's outdoor seating. And for some of the downtown businesses, we've been able to help fund and reimburse those purchases for some of those umbrellas. I personally oversee this program, so if you know anyone or business that is open to reimbursement, I know I have some recipients in the back.
Really appreciate it.
You can reach out to me. We do ask that there is an outdoor cafe grant permit before trying to seek funding, but we can certainly help you get with city staff to help you through that process, and then we try to smooth things through that way. And then, are there any questions about the downtown grants? No? One last grant that the CRA does, and that is the Downtown Commercial Grant. So if a business owner or a property owner wants to improve the facade or the structure of a building, we're able to fund that. There is a match requirement depending on the total project cost, but it's just a good way to kind of improve structures and buildings in the downtown area. And a lot of businesses downtown have taken advantage of that, and you know, hopefully you've been able to kind of see that throughout the course of time. A lot of the buildings downtown have kind of been improved, and it's just a nicer place to be downtown, and you know, just looking around. Well, are there any questions about that program or funding opportunity? If not, then you could certainly go to our website, reach out to staff. We're more than happy to help set up an appointment for future opportunities. Just, you know, feel free to reach out on our website, social media, or drop by the office even. And that's it. Vicki, do you have anything?
Yeah, real quick, just before we wrap up everything, I want to set a reminder out to merchants, but I know some of you 400, 500 block. Yeah, I want to go home as fast as I can. On the 4 and 5 block. Ann sent you guys an email about providing discounts or coupons for the construction workers while they're here. So if you guys haven't got back with Ann already, please send that information out to her so that we can really start pushing it out to the construction team so they can push it out to their staff so they can start utilizing that. So if you haven't, there's Ann right there. Feel free to go walk up and tell her what you'd like to do. With that being said, thank you guys for coming out. I know it's a lot to ask for, but please spread the word. This is the best up-to-date information you're getting on construction, on CRA, on downtown. If you have questions you want to ask, this is the place to be. So I really ask a lot of you, I know, but please help spread the word and share it. Especially on our social media, you'll see it when we advertise it. We will do our best to make sure we have the information on what is going to be discussed at our CRA outreach meetings in advance, but if not, we will tell you by that week what we will present and what it is. But we want to make sure that we're providing update information and giving you guys the facts. So just thank you very much. I'm very, yeah.
Are you gonna ask a lot of questions?
Yes, go ahead. You sure you want to be asking me questions though?
I don't know who to ask.
Okay.
The 2014 July report recommended some signage to indicate the arrival in downtown and the directions for downtown. Kind of like the pillars on Cleveland Street and Myrtle, but perhaps off of Fort Street, off of Blue Street. Are there any plans to implement that?
Not that I'm aware of, but I will direct that question to the right people and have them get back to you, if that's okay. If I can get your contact information and get that question kind of rephrased again, I'll make sure we get that to the right person and get you some information. I don't know if it's gonna be the right answer you want, but I'm gonna try and get you that information.
So we do have downtown wayfinding. I just don't think it's on Drew Street nor Court, so are there specific areas on those that you were looking for?
For instance, at the corner of Court and Myrtle, areas could have, an entrance, downtown entrance sign, kind of like what Dunedin does. If you come in on 580 by the Clear Sky restaurant, there's also one, I think, on Douglas, the entrance to those.
Okay, we have updated some wayfinding signs. Yeah, I know where you're talking.
Not necessarily the wayfinding. Wayfinding is great. It's good that they're refreshed for a while. It looks like they were,
It's okay, you can say it. It's a safe
so,
place.
so that's one.
Okay,
And
great question.
the other thing, maybe I can share some information with Ann and some pictures of Ocean Park.
I have your comments about the park, I'll send those over to our cater.
The problem is, just to share it with people, if you go into the dock master's office, they have these wonderful restrooms, showers, and they're really clean and look really great. If you go around on the back side of the building, there are 2 restrooms used for the splash pad. Somebody brings their little kids and they have to go potty. But they're not maintained, they're not clean. There's graffiti in them that's not resolved quickly. It just really disappointed me. And it's something we talked to Parks about, and Park did come in and redo the floors, which are major improvements, but it's just not ongoing, other than maybe wiping off the sinks. Thank you.
Thank you, we'll make sure that gets addressed to the right department. So thank you for sharing.
The other thing, we've been hearing with the construction, and obviously we gotta, make room, and there's gonna be increased amounts of people, et cetera. But I've heard that starting in May or June, that the eastbound side of our street on the 400 block on Cleveland may need to be, as contrasted with the way it is right now, closed down, opened up for traffic. I don't know if that's a plan, but boy, if it is, that particularly on weekends in particular, but from an overall perspective, that really would impact our businesses negatively, because the families come out there and they can relax and sit there, and little Johnny, they know, is fine. He can go wandering off because the block's closed off. But if it's now Johnny's 3 feet from traffic going in the other direction, plus the concerts, et cetera, I mean, that's like a concern to 3 of us restaurants and one other, everybody on the 400 block, we have a lot of concern about. No? So to your guys' knowledge, the west side of the street, which we use for patios, that will stay like that, and the eastbound side will remain closed off and no traffic allowed on that.
I can't speak to what the MOT is for the Oscar improvement plan. I don't know I know our coordination, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not yours, it's more really a city thing.
It's the Osceola streetscape is one option that may happen, but a contractor hasn't been selected yet.
I don't know what that means, the Osceola streetscape.
So Osceola from Court to Drew Street is gonna be redone. All the infrastructure underneath, the roadway, the sidewalks, that'll all be redone, but that's not gonna start till about June-ish. But that is out to bid, contractor will be selected, and it may be an option that they use for getting vehicles, off of that area, would be to go on the eastbound southern lanes.
But
So it's
that's
something
on
that
Drew.
If it happens, they'll have to work with like police and
Sure.
make it safe.
But that's on Drew, that's not on Cleveland Street between Osceola and
No,
Fort
on
House.
Cleveland. The eastbound lanes would be open is one option that they will talk to the contractor about when a contractor's selected, so it's not final yet.
Well, I'd suggest that we, the 3 of us in District B, Bistro, Downtown Pizza, Clear Sky, and Tequila's, Chiang Mai, and we've got probably 2 other restaurants that are gonna be, opening up there in short order. I think we should be like really involved in soliciting our input with respect to whatever final decisions are made there, because it would have a material, in all likelihood, negative impact on our businesses.
Yeah, so it's not a done deal yet, and last week we were in a meeting about it as a potential, and the police chief was there and he had the same concerns. And so he's trying to make sure if that happens, how there'll be delineation between that eastbound lane and where you guys have all of your outdoor.
Right, well, I respectfully request that before anything is, no, that's it, we've decided, boom, stamped, is that we get brought into that process to, hey, guys, this is the way we're thinking of going.
Yeah, CRA will take note of that, and I'll mention it tomorrow in our weekly meeting.
Well, they'd have to go through, the city council would have to vote to reopen that section of street anyway, so it would be public and we'll know.
Correct? Or,
I don't know that that is a true statement.
Yeah? They were the ones who had it, closed it down. That was the only way. But I don't know. I'll talk to Jen. We'll get some, just get her feedback. She's well aware of the potential impact, of any construction. And we understand it's tough and it's got to get done, and nobody's, trying to be unreasonable. We just.
And they haven't, since they haven't selected a contractor, they don't know if they're doing one block at a time of Osceola, or if they're doing the western half first and then the eastern half. They don't know that yet.
no, the other thing too is that like Laura Street, just behind us and such, that's, the major thing on there though is that that's got all the commercial garbage containers on it, and they need to go somewhere, but that's a lot less obtrusive on the operation of our businesses, provided there's a place made for those. We might even be able to stick those things along the side of the wall, the kind of alleyway that goes into our parking lot, to make room for opening up Laura more extensively, to make that the throughput from Osceola to Fort Harrison. Some outside the box thinking that wouldn't affect the fronts of all of our businesses.
Yep. Good feedback.
Yep.
Great questions, great feedback. That's what we're here for. That's what these meetings are for. So.
Are they looking to open all of Cleveland or just?
Was it 4 or 5?
I think all of them. This discussion potentially could have been the 4 and 5.
Unfortunately, Anna just left, but she would have been the spokesperson. I'm filling.
And I just like to reiterate, they still haven't.
I think everybody wants to make sure we're part of the conversation.
Yep. And like Joelle said, this meeting today is really in a good day, because tomorrow Joelle will be a part of a larger meeting with different departments. These are all comments that we will note take. Your questions, your concerns, I'll make sure that Joelle has all of that information, so that way she can share that with those departments that will be in that meeting. Anything else?
Doing great. If not, I'm going to say thank you guys for coming out. It's the last Tuesday of every month at 3 p.m. in the main library. If anything changes, please let me know. But thank you guys again for attending. And some of the staff will stay back for a few minutes if you guys have any questions. We're happy to answer.